Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and I've been on a little bit of a roll here with thinking about government and civics, understandings of how government works, which I think is an important thing for everyone to think of. You know, years ago, I entertained the thought of getting involved in politics. I thought about it. I considered that I might be someone pretty good at it. I had a very strong understanding of our Constitution. I understood our history. I understood civics. I understood uh, basically how to honor and work for your country. And I was kind of shattered as time went on to understand that a good deal of politics has nothing to do with any of that. It has more to do with what you can get, what special interest group you can get support from, basically who can get what for free, and basically how much you can basically load your coffers with. It was more about me, rather than serve, and serve. I had heroes in the political world. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, brilliant man. I liked him a lot, and I got to know his widow. One day a few of us were going to the Gettysburg battlefield, and she came along, Mrs. Moynihan. And she and I sat in the back seat of the car and just talked about politics, talked about people and individuals. It was fascinating to listen to her. I learned a lot. And I was fascinated to see that a lot of what I had noticed and individuals I had noticed and my take on them were equally thought by her. She was quite a politician. Still is. But you know something? Look at our political scene today. Look at our political parties. Look at our representatives, our congressmen, our senators. Very rarely are they looking at how they can help the country. Very rarely do you see ways of doing great things. We have, as I have mentioned before, massive absurdities. We work with special interests. We want to work with various groups. We want to work with various ethnicities. We don't think of the country as a whole. It's a more us and them mentality. Whereas years ago, you would have two political parties, but the main objective was the country itself. It's a pretty frightening scenario that exists today, because we have a bumper crop of idiots in Congress. We have a lot of people who are extremely lacking in their understanding of how this country works, or have a strong aversion to how this country works. Many people hate its history. Many people hate what the country is itself and want to diminish its power. They want to change how the country works and take from some and give to others. They almost wish to take a republic, a democratic republic that works on capitalism, and change its entire nature. There is a reason Our Constitution was written as it was. There is a reason that our laws were written the way they are over the last 200 years. And it is an unfortunate thing that if we compare our political leaders, if we compare our political thinkers, if we compare our political philosophers today to compare with those of the past, they come across looking like frightening, foolish idiots. Because whereas a lot of our early political theorists, a lot of our early politicians, while maybe they would not agree with each other, they had civility. And they had a common love for country. There were moments where that did not happen. Moments leading up to the American Civil War, which was a frightening time. The terrible moments of half slave and half free. The country certainly was never a perfect environment. And as time has gone by, certain things have been repaired, certain things have been fixed. You know, during the Declaration, the battles over it, you know, John and Samuel Adams were fighting to have slavery made illegal. And in the Constitution, there were those that were pushing to have slavery made illegal. And Benjamin Franklin gave wise counsel. He said, we can take one step at a time. Let's create a country first. You can only do so much. Many, many people were against slavery, but they also realized that they had to dance with the devil a little bit in order to create this great union. And once that union was created, then they could slowly work at the task of trying to fix some of its ills. I think that today we need to look at a lot of this country's ills and say, how can we remedy them? Now, I've seen lots of legislation. We have this new thing called the Green New Deal, which I understand, and I want to say I look at it and say, okay, that's lofty, impossible goals. But I don't want to insult or sully it because I think that's an important thing. I disagree with it because I just think it's an impossibility. And I think it's a little amateurish, but the young lady who's put it in, Senator Cortez, Congresswoman Cortez, put that in, and it's gotten a lot of press puffery. And the interesting thing is that all of the members of the Democratic side immediately endorsed it without reading it. And all of the Republicans were totally against it. And it is an understanding that this world is going through changes and that we are wasteful, yes. And we do need legislation. And I think we start to need some controls. But I think we need to have a little bit more cooperation with both sides, because in the same breath that this Green New Deal is being offered, the same individual is threatening other members of her party if they dare to work with members of the other party. This is not cooperation. This is not working to the common good. This is pure, total partisanship. And partisanship has no place in politics. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me. They say, of course, it is partisan. They're political parties. And there's always been partisanship. Yes, there has. But when we see a country that is sick, and let's face it, this country is sick, and a lot of people don't see it, that is no time for partisanship. It's time for us to get off our ass. It's time for the Democrats and the Republicans to get off their ass and do something for the common good. I don't give a damn whether it has to do with a Democratic principle or a Republican principle. The major focus should be, how does this help the country? I think it's time to think of the things that were said by Warren Harding and echoed by John F. Kennedy. It's not a matter of asking what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. This country has been good to us. And we are letting our country die. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you don't sense it. But anyone who understands their history, anyone who understands the history of republics, can look and see, and without a doubt, diagnose a dying republic. How do we remedy it? By all the things I said before. And if we don't, and I'm hearing that the world's going to end in 12 years if we don't endorse this Green New Deal. That's utter bullshit. I think what we should have is a New Deal for the United States. Because not our climate, but our country is going to die very soon if we don't start new plans, new ways of helping, new ways of supporting, new ways of legislating, and new ways of making this country strong, making this country proud, making this country a collective rather than a group of individuals who refuse to work with each other, who refuse to talk to each other, and refuse to do one goddamn thing to make the country better. I am sick of it. Where are our great political leaders? Where are our Websters? Where are our Clays? Where are our Calhouns? Where are our Lincolns? We need them. We need these kinds of individuals now to change this country, to bring this country back. Because believe me, and maybe you don't see it, we're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. That's what we're doing. And if you don't see it, learn, study. And when you do learn and study, you'll see it. This is very serious. This is very dangerous. And I couldn't be more serious in what I'm saying now. I'm as serious as a heart attack. Thank you.